Previously on The Guardians of Fehal.
In our last episode, the party was preparing for a fun night out at the theater in the city of Aeon, with Nora and Rowan's parents joining them for Nora's birthday. They made their way to see this new and highly talked about play called The Last Queen of Fehal, which sparked a little bit of interest for the twins because some of the iconography on the posters reminded them of the Bandia somehow. Once getting to the playhouse, they met Rhiannon, who had told them about the play and gotten them tickets, as well as running into Felix, the rogue that they know from the Venerable and who seems to be working for somebody to help try and take it down from the inside. After carelessly mentioning the fact that Felix works for the Venerable, there was some awkward tension, especially when the party realized that, as fate would have it, their seats were next to his during the entire performance. But amends were made, and they all began to watch the play together. Almost immediately, Hans and Franz were convinced that this was a slanted version of some of their history, and it portrayed the goddesses of the Bandia very negatively. But it seems to also be more of a history in favor of the conquering of the Iron Valley. As they sit and enjoy the performance with Felix, and intermission comes, Rhiannon and Felix go down to grab items together under the pretense of buying Nora a birthday gift. However, when she has him outside, Rhiannon confronts Felix as if seeming to know him. She kind of, after you guys get out into like the shopping district, she actually kind of like pulls out like a handkerchief and she says, "You know, I saw this on the ground earlier. Is it yours?" And she hands you like a handkerchief that has the exact embroidery on it that your shirt does.
No. He very quickly hands it back.
Give me a deception check.
Yeah, so that's an 11.
Okay, she's got a +8 to her insight, so with a 15.
Yeah, I know.
She looks kind of at you a little bit like irritably, and she says, "What a shame. I very much wish to talk to the owner of this handkerchief and know they're okay."
You could write them.
She kind of like is like looking at you very like intensely, and she's like, "If we go somewhere more private to talk, will you talk to me?"
Yeah. He stops, looks at her, and just sighs. Yeah.
She kind of like pulls you a little bit towards like around like a grove of trees, and then she's like, "I thought you were in Taywin."
Prize?
She like shoves you a little bit, and she's like, why are you here? Why do you look like this? Are you really? What is your name? She looks at you. What is your name?
Very carefully. You can call me Felix.
But is your nickname Isk?
One of them. But I'd really rather that not get around.
It won't. What are you doing here? I thought you were in Taywin. I haven't talked to you for months. You stopped sending letters?
I'm sorry. It's fair. I can't say a lot.
And you're part of the thieves. You're part of the thieves. You've been in Feyn this whole time?
Yeah. Sorry.
You can kind of see her getting a little bit like emotional and like angry and trying to compose herself a bit.
You don't have to be happy with me, you know. Or okay with
I'm good, I'm not.
No one is supposed to know that I'm here.
She kind of starts actually speaking to you in Sylvan because she knows you know that language, and she says, "Is it for your family or something higher than that?"
Both, technically. Though it seems to be more and more that it's quite a bit higher than that. He runs his fingers through his hair.
You're probably in a very dangerous position if you're in the Thieves Guild, and I can suspect with what your abilities were when we used to hang out together, I can understand why you're where you are. Yeah. And why you haven't been writing me.
I'm sorry about your brother. If he's crying, he's gonna go over and hug her.
Yeah, she hugs you back. And she kind of is like, you weren't around and I was so lonely. You were one of my only friends. You were one of the only people that really seemed to kind of understand things. You know what it's like with your family dynamic and everything. I've missed you, Isk. And she's still speaking to you in Sylvan. Are you gonna still be gone for a long time?
I really can't say. I don't know. Though I'm hoping that things get... If I'm tracking things right, things are going to escalate. Perhaps actually sooner than we'd like.
Stay safe. There's only one of you, and you just have as many responsibilities as I do to come back to.
Well, not quite as many. You are,
That's
after
true.
all, a future Duchess.
That depends on if my father actually titles me. I have to talk about that now. I'm glad at least you're alive.
So am I.
Well, you try to well, I suppose it's dangerous. We should probably go back. I actually do want to buy a birthday gift for Nora.
Same here. Though, perhaps I'll do a risk assessment and see if there is a way I can contact you more frequently. And maybe make it so that if you're in any sort of trouble, you can call on me.
She, like, you know, Felix, that she nervously normally fiddles with her hair, like the ends of her braids when she's nervous. This time she's actually kind of like playing with the necklace that you've always seen her wear, but there's like another little blue stone on it, but that wasn't there before, that she has. And she says, I think I'll be okay. You gotta do what you have to do. I have other people I can call on too.
All right.
She kind of gives you like another hug one more time, and she's like, just because I don't know if I'll see you alive again.
Yeah, really morbid there, Lizzie.
I know.
Too. He says quietly.
Well, it's funny how fate works, isn't it? You can just pretend that things are less awkward and you don't actually know me when we go up there. It'll be fine.
All right. Any ideas for a gift for Nora? Because that's really why I left too. Because I had no idea it was her birthday.
I don't know. There might be something. Let's go look really quick. And like, you guys kind of go like scamper around looking for something to get Nora. She's also equally like, I don't know. She eventually finds some like simple kind of jewelry, where she's like, this won't go with her dress, but I think she'll wear this on a more frequent basis. It's kind of like some colored stones that are quite pretty, and goes and buys that for Nora.
Is it a full set of jewelry?
There's matching pieces. She's like, oh, are we chipping in?
Sure. We'll just say I saw you buying it.
Do you have money?
Yes, I have money. I'm not completely broke. They actually pay a fair amount.
Well, I mean, I was curious. Your fortunes are improving overall. But yeah, she kind of like chips in to buy it. Felix knows what that means.
Yeah.
And you guys buy the stuff and get some snacks. She buys some like apples, and there's like some grapes, and she brings them up with to the area. And actually, like, I bet there's well, they probably wouldn't have anything super more exotic than just apples and grapes. So anyway, yeah, you guys go upstairs with some snacks. Cut back to you guys. What were you doing while they were shopping?
Absolute.
Whiplash.
Well,
I guess what would Nora turn around and like ask questions about on the play of how
I think she would just
criticizing it.
I think she would just be like, "Is it really that inaccurate? I mean, I know the basics of your tribe and stuff, but I like what are all the differences?" And she would go through, like, let you guys explain, like, oh, this isn't really this way. They're a little bit more like, this is their nature, not so war heavy and stuff. And she would let you explain anything you would want to, and would probably just like interject with clarifications now and then.
Yeah, it's the wolf does not seek out vengeance. The wolf is simply about battle and or wait, no, the wolf is the hunt and the bear is the war. What was it, buddy? Do you remember?
It's
wolf is the hunt.
No, the wolf is war. The bear is.
Okay. All right. So the wolf, first of all, would never encourage revenge. War is not about revenge for the Bandia. It's, protecting what you have and kind of, preparing yourself for conflict. But we don't seek out that sort of conflict.
But brother, there is precedence for war being vengeance. I mean, somebody comes in and takes something that isn't yours, takes land that's ours. That war can be retaliation, which is essentially vengeance.
Well, I mean, yeah, but we're taking back that land. We're defending that land. We're not going and saying, all right, you took that, well, I'm going to go take this. It's different. From what the plays seem to say is they took someone's life, so all right, go get revenge, kill them all.
I mean, yeah, no, it's they're not good.
Very extreme.
Yeah, it's attacking what the Bandia are and forming it to what suits their needs for this play.
Yeah.
To fit the narrative that the Belmonts were,
also
great people who were
speaking of Belmonts, what do you think Rhiannon said when she said that, Rena said, when she was like, Rihanna is a relative from her mother's side. Because if that's the case, wouldn't that
I give my brother a look like, not, you're already getting too far. I guess I don't know how loud you're speaking. Because if we're having this three-way conversation,
I mean, it's
like Hans and Franz would have stopped it
with other people conversing or
I don't know,
feeling about, like, theaters get pretty loud.
They're an intermission.
Yeah, there's people. There's a hum, but like, yeah, there's a chance people. I mean, your parents are like, who are you talking about? Exactly. Special friend things that maybe we just shouldn't ask about.
Laughs and kind of shakes her head, and just says, "It's just discussing history and things like that."
Because your mom would be like right in front of me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
And
I kind of like lean down, like, "We'll tell you later."
All right. Your dad is kind of like, well, personally, I feel like the production value was quite good, actually. We don't have anything like this quite back home. And, the actress is quite compelling. I know she's supposed to be an evil queen, but she does have a bit of a presence, about her. Like a charisma.
I mean...
So props to the acting, personally. Riveting.
Riveting.
Papa,
So, like,
what is props?
They're up on the stage there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
Who's giving the props to the actress?
Maybe it's what your father did for some time. You made props, Mr. Callum.
I mean, I did. We did in some of the reenactments of our stores in our village. I have made some fake wooden swords before, so yeah, it's not completely unheard of. Sparring dowels,
I want to kind of while we're talking and stuff, he's gonna pull out like his little, it's not a journal, but like his
handy dandy notebook.
Yeah, his handy dandy notebook, and he's gonna take some notes on the play, just to have the details for the next time he sees somebody from his village who may know more about this story.
Yep.
And then like also like questions to ask Rhiannon, like my brother was like, Hans and Franz were just gonna ask about if she's related to her through her mother, and she's of the Bandia.
But also the Belmonts.
Yeah.
Oh!
And allegedly you met in a field, and this yarn clicks to this yarn, and this yarn clicks to this yarn.
No, forget the field.
This is gonna be like fucking Rorschach from Watchmen, where like just a whole wall with string and fucking.
Yep.
I found the connection.
It turns out this play was actually about us. Oh my god.
It is the Ember Island players.
What do you think my brain's been doing with like my backstory, the parts that I don't know? I'm just like, I don't, what connects? I'm confused.
Well, I mean, now with this interaction, buddy, you missed it. There's like Rhiannon and Felix apparently know each other.
I gathered that with the butt end of the conversation. That
yeah.
I was waiting for that for a while, and I'm like,
what
you
the
guys
heck?
dropped her in the aqueducts. I'm like, oh, you know that name. You know that name, Lauren.
Yeah, I was gonna say a couple things. One, Andrew, you missed some tea. Sam,
I missed some what?
Some tea.
You missed some tea that was spilled.
It's
Same.
Yeah, it's an idiom.
You missed some good stuff.
Yeah.
I was
You
thinking
missed
like
some
something popped out or something.
Like
you missed some good drama.
Yeah.
When someone spills the tea, it means they just spill all the secrets that everyone wasn't acknowledging. Like, Cheryl's husband is sleeping with so-and-so, and she's over here, like, screwing her gym instructor. Like, like, that's spilling the tea. It's just spilling all the details and everything. That's also what they were talking about.
Yeah.
They were talking about their neighbors, who their affairs were with, and whose kid is who and whatnot. Yeah, it was basically an episode of Jerry Springer.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Whose neighbors were having what?
Don't worry about it.
Stop.
Don't worry about it.
Don't confuse them.
Yep. I love it how every important conversation that has to deal with like Rhiannon's dynamics with other characters, like Andrew's gone for. It's so funny.
We should probably recap so he knows what's going on.
Go ahead.
So,
recite what you heard.
I mean, I guess he'll listen to it, but basically, I don't know if you really listen to them or not. But so they went to go shopping, and then she tried to offer a handkerchief back that had the same details of his
Lizzie,
clothing.
What
Are you on fire?
It's flying out my candle. Shush.
Oh, okay. And so he claimed it wasn't his. She saw through his deception check, and they went over to a like more secluded area to talk. Turns out they know each other. They were relatively close, very good friends. She hasn't seen him in months, and so she was super upset. Used to write letters to each other, and she hasn't gotten letters in forever, so she was super upset and everything. And then something to do with like the fact that he's doing this not only for like a higher purpose, but also for something for his family. And apparently they have similar family dynamics, like struggles and stuff. So that's interesting.
So you guys can't see my facial expressions.
But then
too much away.
Other than that, there's that he's gonna try to find a way to kind of like contact her more often. And he was like, well, I can see if there's a way that I can make myself more like available to help you if you ever need me and stuff. And so she basically was like, no, you have to do what you have to do in the Thieves Guild, even if it's dangerous. I know it's probably pretty like, you have to be secluded and stuff. And then she thought, I'm assuming about us, because she was like, I have other people that I can rely on to help me out if I need anybody. But they kind of left it. Yeah. And Lizzie pointed that out, that there was the extra stone on her necklace. So But now they went shopping and everything, and they decided they were going to come back and act like they still didn't know each other.
Okay.
So
Did I recap nicely?
Yeah.
It was a few
I mean-
years. It was. She hasn't seen him for like a year or two. Is basically what you said, but that's okay.
So
Because he didn't. He said he was sorry that he wasn't there when her brother died.
Oh yeah, there was that too.
So they know each other, like more than just in
Mhm.
passing.
People know people.
I know, but
People
like,
know people.
but like these are our people. So why do our people know each other when they're not supposed to know each other?
Because I believe we have this thing called
This
a
is my other
DM.
best,
I
this is
know,
my
but
other best friend, and they're like, "Oh, I already know who this person is," and you're like, "Well, then why am I here? Like, what's this connection now that I didn't know about before?"
What I
Andrew-
love,
Yeah.
here's the book. Here's the book that Lizzie is reading to us. We have this section, and we have this section. We don't have any of this.
Yep.
This is what I want to know.
Lauren, are you happy with how that went?
That
Overall,
is a
yes.
very odd way to put that.
I mean,
This is what I want to know.
This
we've
is
got
what
the
I
book.
want.
We know this, and we know this.
Yeah, taken out of context, though, if you're just like,
Yeah, we
This
just
is
gift
wild.
that
We got
part.
the-
We just
we
gift
need
that.
this. We
For
need
only
this.
$5.99 a month, you can access the middle portion. Like if you want to subscribe.
You can subscribe to the special secret chapters. Okay.
Yeah. Hold on.
So-
So
Yes.
but Lizzie, has Rowan recognized anyone on stage?
Give me an insight.
I just need to know. Insight? Fuck.
People on stage, eh?
That was almost a natural 1. It turned to
I-
a 7.
I know where he's going with it, but
Yeah.
You don't recognize anyone on stage.
Okay. Because I've seen Song's disguise, so like I'm looking for his.
Yep. No. That's not. You have not seen his human disguise.
Okay. Okay. That's all.
He's like, I'm holding out hope.
It's more Aaron
My
than Rowan,
gosh.
but
Yeah, you guys are rambling about the plays, talking about inconsistencies, what props are, and after like 10, 15 minutes, Rhiannon and Felix come back upstairs, and they both in tandem present to Nora, like, we got you something. And it's basically some jewelry made of river rocks. Like,
You really didn't have to.
oh, this is better
But-
than Una's gift.
Rude.
I felt like
She'll
Well, you know, you
take
have-
them, and
yeah. If you don't like gifts, I won't get you one for your birthday next year, but
they're so pretty. Can you help me put it on quick?
and she'll help
She'll-
you put it on.
What do you think?
Very, very lovely. They feel a little bit plain with your dress, but you know, you can probably wear those more frequently if you're a jewelry wearer.
I will try it out. They're very pretty.
Mhm.
Thank
Um,
you. Thank you both. And she's gonna give you both hugs.
Felix is a bit surprised, but he seems kind of to melt after a moment and hugs you back and says, "Happy birthday."
So, and she's gonna give you a little kiss on the cheek and a thank you,
Aw.
and sit back down, and go back to, asking. She would probably actually now ask you to, like, how are you liking the play so far?
Felix just glances at Rhiannon.
She like shrugs. I've never seen a play of this story before, but I've read I've read a few history accounts of what this is based off of. So as strange as it sounds, it's somewhere in the middle. I have read some very sensationalized accounts of this historical event, and I have heard more of the boring, here are the facts. They're taking liberties, but they allude to some things. To be honest, though, I know this sounds strange because she's portrayed as a villain, but I really think that this is one of the nicer versions of,
Brianna.
Brianna that I have ever seen before. That's not just plain historical recountings.
Really?
So
It's
what-
interesting. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. My question will
It's
be much later because it needs.
It's normally they put her as just being an evil influencer from the start. The fact that she had a scene in the beginning where she was conflicted, and the way she speaks about, the
Belmont's invading, I mean, there were tensions for quite a while, and the actual historical event is pretty complicated. There was a big dispute over the will, and there was aggression on both sides. So, I mean, it's definitely slanted. However, that's probably because, one, it's a little bit easier for audiences to root with a clear villain, and two, if this play makes it to the Iron Valley, I can't imagine Lord Belmont would appreciate seeing a not-so-flattering version of him.
I suppose everybody wants to see the best side of themselves portrayed in a medium like this.
Mm-hmm.
I know
Yes.
Hans and Franz and I were talking about the differences too, because he noticed some things within their tribes as well and everything. So I didn't expect everything to kind of tie together the way that they have. So, I don't know. I'm interested to see how it all plays out.
She basically says, I'm interested in seeing how they handle the end of the play.
Yeah, it should be interesting.
She like is like, oh, we also did buy some snacks, and she pulls out some apples and some grapes to everyone. And your father, Callum, is like, oh, how lovely! I have not had grapes in a very long time. Thank you, young lady, and is just very politely eating them. And then he's kind of like, yeah, I agree with you. There is something about the queen that has a little bit of charisma, and you see, like, especially sometimes in the actress's face, she seems conflicted about things. And, you know, like, they start talking about that. And Rhiannon talks about other play productions she's seen and blah, blah, blah. He's kind of actually interested in, like, the technical aspects of it and starts talking to her about that. It's very Papa of him.
Adorable.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, I want to know about the props. And she's like, blah, da, 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 da.
Andrew, did Hans and Franz have a question? Okay,
He did, but it was answered.
got it.
Okay.
Kind of, but yeah.
Kind of. Yeah, I know, easy answers. So with that, Felix, unless you had any feedback on the play, I'll pop back into intermission being over.
He's kind of just maybe keeping an eye on Nora's parents. You know, just because he has absolutely no report, and you know, they have no reason to trust him, and they know that he's a member of the Thieves Guild, so he's just kind of politely keeping his distance.
I actually think the mom will lean over and she's like, I believe your name is Felix, so how did you actually meet my children? Kind of like nicely smiling, like, you know, politely playing it cool, like, tell me.
Oh, we were traveling south on the... What river was it?
It's the Dakra.
It was the Dakra, yeah.
On the Dakra River, and we got here, and we ended up saving the son of the head of the Merchants Guild from a hag. So...
Oh, you were there for the hag encounter they told us about.
Yeah.
She'll make small talk with you, and then it's like the lights start dimming again, and everyone kind of like sits back down. And basically, actually, like, as it kind of looks like it's starting to dim again, like, Rhiannon, like, leans over to you, Hans and Franz, Andrew, and is like, I hope you're not upset that I recommended we go see this play. I didn't really think about how it might have ties to the Bandia when I recommended it. I was just kind of excited to hang out.
No, I'm enjoying it, and, you know, it's nice to spend time with you regardless, but it's always good to see how you people are portrayed from the outside. You know, I know that, and I kind of like lean in and whisper, hopefully my brother's talking to Nora or something, so it doesn't hear it. But he's like, I know my brother kind of has a bit of a golden view of our people, but I know that's not always true. And this may be skewed one way, but it may not be as far from the truth. You know, I'd like, you said you knew the history, you know, a bit more of the actual history, and I'd like to know it. You know, we have tales of the past and that go back, you know, many generations, but as tribes were lost, stories were lost, so it'd be good to know more, you know.
History is often written by the victors, and she kind of like gestures kind of like towards the stage.
I mean, I have both sides of my family betrayed on this stage, and I know more about one half than the other, and the other is only through hearsay.
So, your mother from the Bandia?
No, she was from the Source clan. I think I've mentioned it before.
Sounds disgusting.
Source clan? The Source clan, yes.
Not the Source?
Source.
Open
Source.
Festering Moon Clan.
Yes.
We're the Source Clan. Really? Yeah, we changed it. From what? Open Festering Moon Clan.
Look, okay, it meant something in a language I thought was appropriate, okay?
It's
why I
SOARS.
Oh,
It's
Seer.
SORS.
That's what I said.
Yes.
Yes.
Has she mentioned that? I guess I don't
Yeah, when she
recall her
introduced
saying-
herself, she said her last name was Source, and then she's kind of mentioned in passing, but she's really actually not talked about her mom a lot. Almost like nothing.
I just realized what I
So
said
the
earlier.
Swords Clan, what is...
Give me a history check.
I know. Rowan knows.
19. That's
Okay.
with a -1. That means it was a natural 20.
Woohoo!
With that high of a history check, you're really thinking about it, because, you know, when you guys traveled through the Iron Valley, you would run across places where they had you know, like when you guys were where the bear lived, you saw that there would be flags with iconography on it that looked like, you know, the bear, and like, you know, they would have like things. They were pretty friendly to you there for being parts of the Bandia, and there would be some frequenty trade areas in certain parts where you were like, oh, maybe like they don't really worship the bear, like they're part of the Iron Valley, but like this kind of like the family clans here seem to kind of have like this symbology and stuff like
And they
that.
could have at one point been members of some tribe. of the
Yeah,
Bandia.
similar to, because like with your father's tribe, you weren't really like the bee tribe per se. It
Mhm.
was more of like you had they had the best craftsmen, but there would be people in that tribe group that did worship the individual gods and stuff of the region. Same with your mom. Like it wasn't like they all worshipped, you know, the horse or whatever. It was multi aspects of it. So as you traveled around the Iron Valley, you're like, I remember like there was one there. There was one by the serpent. There was kind of like a snake family crest and stuff like that. And then you're thinking about it and you're like, I don't remember. You're like, I don't remember like there being this. You're trying to think, and then you're like, no, there was something where there was like these old, like there were these ruins that you came across of like this burnt down like castle that was like, it had been charred to the ground and the whole area had kind of been deserted. And like the town nearby was like, yeah, that used to belong to the Source clan. They're not there anymore. But like, you're like, okay, that's what those ruins were. So now that you're thinking about it, you're like, oh, that's where it sounded familiar from.
Okay. I won't bring it up now, but he probably will later. So.
Anyway, so the play, you know, the lights start to dim again. You go settle in for a bit. The play ends, or the play starts again. This time, it looks like there are some like women, instead of like the beginning of the play where there was like 3 women that came out like in black cloaks, blue paint, and blah blah blah, all evilly cackly. This time, it looks like there's like the scenery is like rain and sadness and gloomy and the fog again, but these ladies that come out are kind of wearing like all white and like veils, and they basically kind of, well, you get the vibe that they are like people who are spirits of like Moria, the southern goddess of death, who's kind of lamenting all of the death that's been happening with the battles and stuff like that. And they talk about how, like, you know, the queen has been raiding and sacrificing, like, villagers and to appease the dark gods, blah, da, 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 da. And then they're kind of saying, we will pray to calm our minds to aid this conflict to an end and go off. And then, like, it opens with, like, a meeting with Rhiannon and her mother arguing over, like, the cruelty of the fighting. And her mother then kind of starts getting more, like, crazy and demented and, like, threatens to kill her for being a traitor. And then Dean comes in and de-escalates it, and then after he kind of like, they go their separate ways, he has a moment where he's kind of like praying for guidance and addressing the audience, like, am I going to be a traitor? Should I stop this bloodshed? I can't stand by. She's becoming more unhinged. What should I do? And then kind of after, like, you know, he hears like the ladies that were kind of like dressed in like the white come by and like whisper, like, you know, there's another path lies before you. And then he basically addresses the audience in the similar, like, so I can never say this word right. Soliloquy.
Yes.
Good job. If I say it slow, that he ultimately plans on handing over Rhiannon to her from her mother to Belmont for safekeeping, and he's going to join his forces in the upcoming battle in the field, and prays that like this means that his soul isn't forfeit for being a traitor. And then, like, it kind of cuts back and forth between a couple other scenes of talking and raveling up, like, the lords and blah-da-da-da-da, and then also raveling up, like, the clan leaders and the tribe leaders. And the night of the battle happens, and then on both ends of the stage, where you can tell it's, like, silhouetted in darkness and stuff, it has the Belmont actor and the queen basically kind of having monologues and both praying for divine help. And then Belmont kind of gets, like, a voice and a sense of like rain falling, and he gets a blessing from the gods. It says Rakir and Rasa, who say they will grant rain on the field tomorrow, ruining the advantage of the clan's chariots and horses. And then Rhiannon, however, is praying and she's not receiving any answers. And then she starts like having this big monologue, doubting her actions, wonders if the gods really sent her signs or if she just envisioned things. And it kind of is more of like the moment you see her like insecure again for the first time since like the first meadow field. And then like you can hear these really creepy cries of like children and like women screaming, and you can hear her starting to get like anguishly tortured by like the screams of it. It's kind of a very creepy scene. Like everyone in the theater is getting like really uncomfortable with this. And she just kind of eventually like has a breakdown moment and says like, I cannot take it anymore. Remove my heart so I have the strength to see through what is needed. And that's kind of where like it goes dark again. And then it switches to, it looks like a mossy like field again, now covered in fog and cloudy. You can see on both sides of the stage there's people dressed up in actors, and they kind of have like illusion silhouettes of larger armies like creeping up into the wings of the theater. And then there's basically, Belmont kind of gives like a speech to his people, and like Brianna gives a speech to her people. And then this is really interesting. Like they have like these illusions of soldiers kind of going about like fighting within the rings. And then they make an illusion look like rain is falling. And then all the illusions of like the people on like chariots and horses are getting like smired down in the mud. And the Belmont's troops, which are all on foot, get like an advantage and use archery to kind of take them down. And then during all of this, you can see from the other side of the stage where Rhiannon was being kept captive, Dion frees her and then turns his army and starts like sliding through the rest of the troops and stuff. And then basically Belmont runs into Dion and says, "Where is the queen? We must bring her to justice," and says, "She's fled on her horse," and blah da 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 da. "We must chase her." And then like everything kind of goes black again and the illusions of battle fades. It goes to the simple stage again where it was all foggy and murky at the beginning and it's raining. The actress that's playing the queen comes out again, like kind of looks like they actually threw water on her to make it look like rain actually was falling on her. Her clothes look a little bit torn up from battle, and there's like mud caking the bottom of her dress, and she's just looking more and more like unhinged. And then she's pacing around and addresses the audience again, and she says, "Traitors, traitors surround me. Dion and his people have wounded me, turned my blood against blood, taken my blood, my sweet childless Rhiannon. Belmont has taken my royal prodigy." And you can see like she's just like very upset and distraught, and the actress is selling it. And eventually she takes the crown off of her head and holds it. Her face a mix of emotion before like settling into resolve, and then places it on her head. And you can see like on the ground there's actually like a serpent that kind of starts like slithering around in the illusion. And then she picks it up and like holds it around her arm, and she says, "Those that made me queen see fit for me to die as one." And then she just lets it bite her arm and then like dies on stage. And then after a minute or two, like Belmont storms in with some other troops. They see the body, laments over all the actions of her bloodshed, but swears not to be ruled by darkness. And Rhiannon joins on stage crying over her mother's body. Dion gets knighted and raised to lordship, and basically the play ends with the two agreeing to marry, fight off the rest of the rebellious lords, and remake the Iron Valley from one of blood into iron. And then basically the lights kind of like fade, the illusion goes off, and then all the everything goes dark again, and then the house lights come up again, and then all the actors start coming up on stage, and everyone's like clapping and going wild and throwing things on stage, but like flowers and coins, and like everyone's cheering. Everyone thought that ending was great with the special effects and stuff. So
Yeah, all clap.
Hans or Trons will give a slow clap. Not necessarily begrudging.
I'll lean over to Rhiannon. So, was her clan, or was it a clan or a tribe?
I think she used the term clan before.
Clan, yeah. Yeah, her clan.
Was her clan actually a member of the Bandia? Or not?
No.
Okay,
this was like almost 200 years ago.
Yeah, so I think the play was really well done. I think it was a good way to kind of put the Bandia in the bad light. They may have came to her to offer help and, misinterpreted or whatever to turn into this. But, I get it. I think it was regardless of how it paints the Bandia, it was well put together. And there was that part at the beginning with the scene in the field that was a bit... but the rest of it was
yes, I know the flirting was very cringy.
It was awful. Don't know how romance can even, start like that.
I kind of look Rhiannon in the eye and then like flick my eyes at my brother and like I don't know anybody that bad at flirting, and like give like a little knowing smile.
You just crushed his spirit. I mean, he's not that bad at flirting because every time he's done something like sweet regarding Nora, like Sam, Megan, and I have all been like,
oh! No, I know. He's
brotherly love.
Yeah, you're the one offering aphrodisiacs.
Hey, it works. Yeah.
I think that's the best kind of flirting.
I left the fucking oysters at home, all right?
Felix turns to Rowan. So, what did you think of your first play?
I thought it was very interesting. I don't know if I believed all of it, but I think from what I've heard, it seemed like it was a good depiction of the story. It's
a fair depiction.
Do you know the story well?
He shrugs.
Insight check.
I'm gonna see how tired he is.
Give me an insight check. And Lauren, give me a deception check.
Why am I rolling insight so well? 18.
Apparently not. So that's actually math. I hate math. 27.
Shit.
What?
Holy shit.
Master deceiver.
Expertise in deception.
The way to do it.
But he's not actually going to deceive, I think. I know that there's more than one version of the story. If you're interested, I think your friend over there, Rena,
yes.
Shut up, Lizzie. She might know a few books or something that you can look into and read and make your own opinion. I think that it's very wise of you to not just believe what you see another person putting in front of you.
I will ask her. Thank you.
He nods.
He's very insightful tonight, but not insightful enough to pick up on the connection.
I'm just really happy you didn't roll that high of a deception check when it came to Rhiannon and insight checking you.
Hans and Fran has some very serious questions for Rhiannon later. Because,
I know.
One, you don't come back with a gift for somebody that you bought with somebody you just met. And be like, this is from us. So... he knows something's going on here.
Yep. Yeah, you guys the play's over, is there anything you want to do? You gonna go back to the guild? I mean, Una's still asleep on your shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
Hans and Franz, Josh.
Give her an elbow.
Has the illusion worn off?
Oh, yes.
Hans and Franz would probably like gently like push her head off of his shoulder or his arm so he could like kind of help prop her up.
I will wake
Una.
her up and be like, Una, you need to cast your spell again.
What?
The disguise wand.
She casts it. Wait, what happened? Did the play start yet?
Now it's over. You fell asleep on my
Oh,
arm.
it's that, brother. It's just over now.
What? Oh. I guess I could have Song recite it for me.
Maybe.
kind of.
If he's ever around.
If he's not too busy.
Well, that was a theater experience.
Is Rhiannon looking to like hang? I mean, we could go get drinks and discuss the play and stuff.
Yeah, if you guys want, or basically, yeah, she'll go get drinks with you guys. If
I don't
you
know
want.
I don't know what her timetable is.
No, she's like, my only engagement tomorrow is with, in the morning is with Nora and Una, so.
Right.
Oh, what do you two do? You three.
We're having tea.
Oh, nice.
Make sure you don't spill any.
I don't. Find where we come from. If you spill the tea, no good.
Bad luck.
Yeah.
I always thought it was salt, but did you want to do something tonight?
I mean, yeah. If you get to, I don't know what time it is.
The play probably started at like.
I think we agreed to like 7:30, 8ish.
Yeah.
7. It probably would be 7, because like, yeah, it probably would be 7.
Okay.
That it started?
And yeah, it started, so it's probably like 9:30. So like, taverns are still hopping.
This party's pumping.
Yeah, there's a bar just on the way that Una and I went to once. Right? I went with her to this.
It's in the Novice.
Yeah, or that's where I met her.
Yeah, you met her coming back from there.
Stuff,
Yeah.
and then I met her outside. So
Oh, the Novice?
I think that's what it was. She had me meet her outside. I don't think she wanted to see me in there.
That's kind of rude. That's a very rude thing. I personally would rather not go to the Novice. Just, there's so many people there. Kind of gives a look to you, like, am I gonna recognize?
Oh, yeah. I forgot that's what that was. How far is it to the cock?
The Dandy Rooster?
About 3
that's
feet.
Closer to the Merchants Guild, because it's on the, if I look at the city map, the Dandy Cock is in backwood part of town, so you would have to go outside the South City gates. You could go over to the Fey District.
I'll leave it up to Rena.
There's a Fey bar?
Yeah, there's lots. Actually, Rhiannon's like, the Fey bars are actually pretty nice.
Well, then let's go there. I'll look over at Nora and Rowan and their parents and be like, would you guys want to go for a drink and maybe a little bite to eat?
Nora's gonna look over at Mama and Papa and just give those like, can we go? Like kind of eyes, try to be like, please come with us.
Rena said there's some nice Fey bars just down the street here.
Mm-hmm. If you're all right with 2 old people crashing your time.
You're not old.
Stop it, Mama.
Don't think you're very old. But
why you say you're not fun?
No, well, probably not as fun as I used to be, but
Company is company.
we'll go.
Come on.
Oh,
Yeah.
she'll look at Callum and's like, when was the last time we went out on a date? And he's like, there's not really a lot of options he says in the Grove, and she's like, exactly, we should spend some time together with our children too, of course.
Here comes baby number 3.
Oh shit.
Well, I mean, technically, Rowan was never a baby.
That's
At
true.
least not in
I
this
was a
form.
sapling.
My little sapling.
Yeah, no, we would
Mhm.
love to have your company. It's always nice to meet our friends'
Mm-hmm.
parents. I don't think I've ever. Anyway. Yeah,
She kind of looks over. Is Felix still standing there?
Yeah.
she'll kind of say, well, I suppose this is good night unless you planned on coming out with us too.
I don't want to impose.
It's
No,
not.
come on.
Not
Company is
imposing.
company. The more, the more the happier.
Una is like, I'm really tired, guys. I'm gonna go back to the guild and sleep. It's been a while.
No.
It's been a while.
Will you be okay getting back on your own?
Yeah, I'll walk out through the Fey district with you guys, and no one can see me because I'll just.
Her voice is
disappear
making
into
me
shadows.
yawn.
Anyway, so yeah, Una will part ways with you guys. Watch you be at the tavern next episode, and then she changes her mind. It's back. I might edit that out. We'll see. So anyway.
She gets halfway back to the guild, finds a Red Bull, and is like, "Oh fuck, let's party!"
And then she just flutters her way back to the bar.
Yeah, you guys can go. Hang on, I gotta look up what a name of a bar is.
Google Elven
Make it happy.
Taverns.
Make it happy. Make it fade.
It's gonna be called the Lily Petal Tavern.
That's cute.
Lily Petal.
Yes.
So it's just the Vagina Tavern.
No.
You're a vagina
I
tavern.
can't. Oh, I heard that.
Oh.
Fucking take my headset off for a second. You try to insult me.
I
see
think
how
that's
it
a
goes.
compliment.
It is.
Actually, you called me a vagina? Oh, yeah.
A vagina
No,
tavern. She
you
called you
are
a vagina tavern.
Vagina tavern.
I think
I
that's a
mean-
compliment.
I think so too.
Last time I
yeah,
checked.
okay. Yeah. Having vaginas are great, everyone.
I don't know.
that
I've
is
seen
your-
Big Mouth.
With that.
What?
I don't know. I've seen Big Mouth.
I need to watch the
Oh
latest
my
season.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah,
love
season
that show.
4 is good.
Uh-huh.
And season 5 should
want-
be coming out here in the next couple months.
Sweet.
So you go to the
Lily
Petal.
Petal.
The Lily Petal. And you get drinks. They have the strong Fey wine there, so it just depends on how much you guys want to actually, drink.
Nope, just a thimble.
Just a thimble.
No, yeah, Hans and Franz is just going to be sipping and chatting. No, yeah, Hans and Franz is just going to be. He actually wants to talk to Callum
Somebody.
and Lyra. Is it Lyra? Or
Lyra.
and ask him about just kind of like where they're from. Like, obviously he gets that there's some sort of secret about where they're from, but just like just like generic questions. And then he wants to kind of broach the subject, like with talking about the play, of if they're aware of who the Bandia are, and if they don't know anything about the Bandia, he'll kind of like ask them about their deities and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
and then kind of like fill them in who the Bandia are.
Sure. Spread the word.
Yeah, it's,
With,
some little birdie
proselytize.
thing to do. You don't have to have an answer right now. This is very far
This is-
out of left
Yeah.
field.
They answer. They kind of. It's similar to what Nora and Ronan have talked about before. Like, there's a lot of trees. It has its own customs, and they have a strong connection with like the spirits of the earth, and like they have little household kind of spirits, and they.
Because they don't worship gods.
Yeah, they
It's
don't
all
worship gods.
spirits.
I'm trying to think if they know anything about the Bandia. They'd say, actually, Callum says specifically, I think so. I actually think I've met some people from your tribe before, like some fur traders that came through White Tree occasionally. Big.
Have we been to White Tree?
Yeah, that's where you guys got on the boat job.
Okay,
Boat
that's
to
what
come
I
down the
thought.
river.
That's where we met.
Yeah.
The boat job, sorry.
Please, the BJ for short.
That's what they called the Beetlejuice musical was
Oh no.
The BJ musical.
Yeah.
Oof.
Hey, you want to go see BJ?
Definitely.
Let's go experience BG.
Bee Gees? He looks like one of the Bee Gees.
Mhm.
Oh my God, he's staying alive.
Yeah, he's like, I didn't really interact with them too much. I just know that, from what you're describing, sounds familiar. They had similar iconography on them and holy symbols. And the mom is like, yeah, I can't say that I have personally encountered the Bandia from my travels, especially in the Fey realm. I can't say I've ever encountered anyone there, but, that's kind of basically it.
I was
Traveled through the Fey realm?
I'm starting to think that you have short-term memory loss,
I probably do.
You poor thing.
I mean, yeah, brother. Yes, brother. I was actually meaning more of like the goddesses, the Bandia, not so much people of the Bandia. If they have if they've heard stories of similar stories, something that like harkens back to, a nightingale who fucking sings poetry, or you know what I mean, like just trying to like piece things.
They both say that like the mom kind of isn't really. She's like, I mean, there's the three symbology is pretty common in the Fey realm. They have like the 3 cycles of the moon. They have the aspects of like the sun, the sky, and the moon that they worship for magic. It's so I mean, there's a 3 aspect with that.
The three phases of the moon.
In the Fey realm, there's only 1 moon, and each cycle of it lasts for, she does some math, 86 days in this time in the mortal realm. So the year is divided up by those 3 moon cycles. So they all have different meaning. So I could see there being the similarities. The moon has 3 forms, rebirth, growth / life, and then death, and then rebirth again. So, I mean, that sounds somewhat familiar with your sister's aspects, but, I mean, it's not really worshipped in the same way, I would say.
Okay, that's interesting to know, though. Thank you for telling me.
Yeah. The dad looks a little bit like he's thinking of something, and he's like, I can't say that, because you're just talking about the goddesses, right?
I mean, yeah.
Okay, yeah. He's
Stories
like, I can't
related
replace.
to.
Yeah, so like the totems, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he says, traditionally I know that our village has stayed relatively secret because many cultures weren't really a big fan of people of Fey ancestry, so it's not super likely that we cross paths much, but
So I guess I don't have to ask, but I want to ask. You're originally from the same village in the wherever the grove is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a Fey village, and you're human, correct?
Fey and human, he says.
Okay. Yeah, it's always seemed very weird to me, because there's been that, when growing up, we've had interactions with, Fey-touched people, however you want to put it. It was never, I mean, it was a big deal because, we might get some really nice fabric or something for some of the people in the village, but it always seemed weird when my brother and I went out into the world and people, there was this hatred for them. I never understood it. Everybody that we've met so far seems very nice. And
I think people make the mistake of, same with other people, they blame the actions of leaders on civilians. And the mom kind of nods her head. She's like, make no mistake, the Fey realm, and not all Fey are incredibly nice. There are some malicious creatures like the hags. But the same can be said for many men in power.
Yeah, I kind of like lean in kind of conspiratorial and be like, God, there's some very not nice people in the human world too.
But the Fey specifically, especially some of the ones that crossed over from the Fey realm originally, were very powerful and found that they could make alliances with humans to build their powerful influences. And sometimes beings like that can be benevolent, and other times they cannot. I don't usually trust such arrangements myself, but some people even humans have made pacts with them and keep them to this day. But it's complicated. People are complicated.
Yeah, much is life, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and society and civilization. But
Callum says, I always find that life is better when people try to understand each other as individuals, and
yeah,
remember that.
I definitely agree with that 100%.
Mm-hmm. He like raises the cup to you to like toast.
Yep.
Raise a glass to freedom. Sorry, musical.
I figured as much. It was
that a Les Mis reference?
No,
that
that's
was
from Hamilton.
Yeah, Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Then and then whenever the conversation peters out,
Mm-hmm.
he'd go hang out with Rhiannon and his brother and stuff.
Let me see. Is she tipsy at this point? Actually, Sam, what is Nora been doing? Felix, what have you been doing? And Hans and Franz, what have you been doing? Josh.
Probably just, sipping on maybe some of that Fey wine.
Gin and juice.
All that too.
And just kind of listening to the conversation, just kind of, mulling the play over in my head, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, Nora would probably just be like, just kind of listening in on conversations and stuff, and probably like in between, considering I have a feeling it was probably Mama that was talking to Hans and Franz more. She might like do little small talk with Papa every once in a while, and then back to like maybe Rowan or whatever, just to kind of like talk about the play a little.
Does this place sell any human wine?
Yeah, it's not very good though.
Yeah.
Do you not like Fey wine, Felix?
It's a bit strong for me.
Gets me fucked up.
It's not that strong.
Oh, I thought it was.
You just gotta take it.
No, that's
No,
Rhiannon's saying. Rhiannon's like, it's not that strong, and she's like a little, like you can tell that she's like a little bit more giggly than usual.
Little in her drink.
Yeah, a little buzzed.
He blinks at her. Maybe you should slow down a little. Just a little.
Don't tell me what I can and can't drink.
He kind of just drinks it like, whatever, I'm drinking it anyway.
Shut up, Cheryl.
Shut up.
It's Nora's birthday.
Oh, she holds it. She still holds it. She stays in like the light bubbly phase. She's like, I haven't drank in a very long time. I am enjoying it. Nora, she kind of like whispers to you in Sylvan. I know, because she's not. Do you like your dress? You've looked a little uncomfortable in it all evening.
I think it's very pretty. It's the first time I've ever had anything so elaborate.
Do you feel like the dress is wearing you and you're not wearing the dress?
Yeah. I love it. I really do. It just doesn't necessarily feel like I'm ready for it yet. It almost makes me feel a little small. Like I'm kind of swimming in this. In fabric and glitz and glam, and I don't know really what to do with myself. But I could never imagine a friend getting me something so amazing, so I mean, I love it all the same.
I understand the obligation to do that for someone you love. You still look beautiful in it. I can just tell you're not
It's
super
not used to
comfortable.
it.
But it is pretty on you. Maybe
Well,
one
thank
day you'll
you.
feel comfortable in it.
I hope so. I mean, it does feel nice to, I suppose, look pretty, I think. And I have started appreciating things like this a little more. Hans and Franz helped me pick out this,
And she's like gesturing to the shawl that they had bought and stuff.
he helped me pick this out, and I love it. I think it's kind of that in between of it's not too much. I feel like that mixed with this,
And she'll like show the necklace that she got and the jewelry pieces.
Yeah.
These are things that I think they're baby steps.
Well, each step is a step forward. Maybe sometime you, me, and Una should go shopping together and pick out something that feels more where you're at now.
I would love that. I know that we saw a few things while we were out and about, and I think being in this kind of makes me want to branch out a little, I suppose. All I've been wearing lately is the things that you helped me make, Mama, so.
Oh, you're talking to your mom now?
Yeah, she brings in her mom and stuff, and she'll just kind of like, just kind of lean over and just be like,
oh, that's all I've been kind of wearing, so.
Well, you definitely should buy your own clothes. I feel like that's one of the first things is discovering as an adult what you want to be like.
Yeah. I do think that it would be really fun just to have a girls' day, Rhiannon, you and me, and we can grab Una too. So I know Una loves, elaborate fabrics. I mean, clearly.
She kind of gestures to the dress design a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, if you want her to buy them for somebody else, I mean, I could insinuate that I need gowns, but also I don't want her to spend her money on all of that. That's a lot of fabric.
I can only imagine what she ended up doing to make this in time, and I think that's probably why she's not here with us having a good time. I feel so terrible.
It's all right. We're gonna have tea tomorrow, and we'll make it all up. It'll be perfectly fine.
I think it will be nice. Just us girls for a little while. I think Una's looking forward to it too.
She probably needs it after just a lot of stuff with what happened recently anyway. The parts of it I know about. Also, did Hans and Ron say something earlier about it being a seal? Or a seal village? Or village of seals? Did I mishear that?
When did he talk about this?
It was when Felix walked up and was talking about how would you like it if you just said you were in the, and she's seeing and like, and and how would you feel about like this? And is it the Feywild? Am I not remembering that correctly? Was it seal? Was it like
I think
seal
it has
seals?
something to do with some of the stuff that Una's currently dealing with their family and things, but nothing to worry about. I'm sure if anything comes up, she'll let you know.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, you guys kind of are making small talk, and Hans and Franz, you like slide over a bit to talk. You had questions. Yeah, you had questions too. You wanted to ask Rhiannon stuff.
Oh, at a later date.
Oh, okay.
I think he was taking notes for like next time they have their tutoring session or something.
Yeah.
Later. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to talk about while drinking and socializing?
I think if Rhiannon goes back to talking with the other people and stuff, Nora's gonna lean over to Josh's Hans and Franz and kind of nudge him a little bit.
Did you bring up Una and her secret?
Like she's whispering very carefully.
Yeah, well, you see, she had said the thing about Felix being in the Thieves Guild, and I was like, why did you say that? And she shrugged. Like,
well, it wasn't smart for her either, but don't go and tell her secret either.
I was asking, how would you like it if I just talked about all the Seal Village and stuff?
Well, Rhiannon overheard.
Well.
Did Felix lip read that too?
Well.
Wait, what?
Did Felix lip read that too?
I mean, he's sitting at the table right now as they're talking, so he probably.
Well, and I think when it originally happened.
That's what I was.
He was right there.
Yeah, that's right. Because your parents were there too, and they were just like, "All right, we're gonna go shopping, and we'll just let this."
Yeah, because they kind of just like slipped off, like we didn't hear anything.
Yeah.
Nora just gives him that like side eye of like, you know what you did, and then goes back to her drink.
You know what you did.
I guess Positron just like stares into his wine glass, like staring at his reflection.
He's like, I keep fucking this up. She keeps getting angry at me. I bought her a scarf. We went to the zoo, and now because I said this, I'm in the doghouse again.
I mean, hopefully he's not.
Is he sulking?
They're fine. It's literally
Just
one
a
of
bit.
those friendly, like, you know what you did kind of things, not actually angry.
So
I know,
from
but he's still sulking.
Theater of the Mind, Felix is kind of sitting by Josh's Hans and Franz and Nora. Or I thought that's what. Okay.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah. Sure.
Just to those two, he'll say, "Don't worry. I don't think anyone really heard, about the whole seal."
Shush, 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 shush.
How did you hear?
How do we?
Well, just above table, Josh.
You said it
Megan
in front
spilled
of
the
him.
beans about the Thieves Guild thing because Felix was standing right there, and then you in front of everybody.
I mean,
there.
like right then,
Right
hear
now.
the conversation
Oh.
between.
Oh.
Mhm.
How do you know we were talking about that, Felix?
He hesitates and then seems to just go for truth. I actually read lips.
I have words on my mouth?
Rhiannon
what-
laughs.
I think what he means is he can tell by the shape of your lips and the way you're talking what you're saying.
Howser Franz just kind of like wide-eyed looks at Felix.
That's
So
why
you can like know what people are saying without actually hearing what they're saying?
As long as I can see them. Well, their lips, more specifically.
And it'd have to be, I'm assuming, some of the language that you speak.
He nods.
Because if I'm speaking Celestial, do you know Celestial?
Nope.
Okay, good.
Howser Franz is like,
Are you sure?
like he'll ask in Celestial.
Are you sure you don't know Celestial?
Nora just answers back.
I don't think he knows Celestial.
I think Felix is going to try to parrot whatever Josh just said back to him.
Uh-huh. But it's
Just-
not 100% right.
Probably not. And shrugs.
Okay.
That's not the best I can do.
Howser Franz will look back to Nora in Celestial.
Okay. I think I'm just gonna talk to you like this from now on.
And she'll just
Brother,
say
that's
back.
kind of rude.
She'll just say back.
We don't need to do that. It's just Felix.
No, but I mean, if I'm going to be, opening my big mouth around people, I might as well just speak Celestial because no one else speaks the tongue of the heavens.
Yeah, but brother, there probably are people out there that do.
I mean, I'm
Nora,
trying to learn.
a Pegasus,
Yeah.
I'm trying to learn.
verily Rhiannon.
And I smack him on the shoulder.
I say
Not-
her Celestial name, not actually Rhiannon.
Proper names are still proper names.
Yeah.
In Spanish, if I say McDonald's, I just
still
say
McDonald's.
McDonald's.
No.
If you'd like me to go, I can go.
No, he's
No, there's
Going over
nothing
the
wrong,
top.
Felix. I'm just, I'm flustered.
Because you didn't realize people could do that.
No, and it's not exactly because you could, read my lips. It's just, I gotta go to the bathroom.
I knew that was coming.
And after Hans and Franz gets up to go to the bathroom, like Rhiannon kind of like leans over to Andrew's Hans and Franz. How do you say your brother's not very subtle in the Bandia language?
To which Hans and Franz replies,
I just want to be like, you say, my brother Hans and Franz. No.
Just translate straight up.
Um,
That's what Hans and Franz means in Bandia.
it's
Not
actually
very subtle.
it's hold on a second here. I got something here. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
He's coming in with the whammy.
So, one of the signs that we have is, and I'll say it in our language, and then I'll, this is how you would just say what you said, and I'll say, my brother is not very subtle, and I'll say, oh, you could say this, and it'll be the same word, my brother, whatever the word is for my brother, is a nightingale when he should be a bear. Since the bear is hunting, I'm assuming the bear kind of goes hand in hand with like some stealth.
Yeah.
And so, and so that means, you know, you're a nightingale when you should be a bear. So he's being very loud and letting things out when he shouldn't be.
You know, maybe I should tell him that, but he does still owe me a gift, and I don't want him to make it a cursed item.
He wouldn't do that. But
he would never.
We should probably not say it anyway. My brother's not as thick-skinned as some.
There are moments where I do worry if he's going to be extra upset about certain things, but it seems all right.
Yeah, he normally takes things pretty well. You know, it's depending on who says something to him, he takes it a little worse than others. And like trying to be subtle, he'll like kind of like flick his eyes to Nora while like looking at her.
Yeah, and she kind of like nods, like, yeah, I saw that sulking. Like, you know, everyone has people that manage to pierce through their armor more than others.
It's not even so much piercing in the armor as you tried to take the armor off around certain people.
It's pretty dangerous, but I suppose to you that seems natural because you don't even wear armor.
Well,
which kind of like gives you a smile.
Yeah, I'm also not the rule for my people. I'm more of the exception. A lot of them do actually wear armor, especially those who've chosen, you know, my line of a warrior for the Bandia. They usually wear some pretty good armor, but I've got my cloak and, you know, my brother's magics and my own magics. I'd probably be laughed at for going into battle like this amongst my people until I showed them what I could do. You muted yourself.
Just typing something.
Oh, okay. And you didn't unmute yourself with whatever you said, but we'll just wait.
She's mimicking the body language I am right now, Lauren.
Okay, cool.
But you said that you would look foolish if you went into battle like that.
Well, essentially just like not many
like
people in my village would wear just this into battle, unlike me. I would be considered probably a little crazy the first time they saw me go into battle like this.
I mean, I think that's fair. You did literally stand and fight a nightmare by yourself.
What?
I mean, yeah. I guess that was kind of cool, wasn't it?
It was pretty cool. I mean, in the moment it was more scary.
Yeah.
Not you, but just the situation, you know. And, you know, but armor. Drinks more water.
She picks up a candle and starts drinking it. No, Rhiannon, no. Candles are for smelling, not for...
No, this was pantomiming her cup.
I know. And then, I mean, unless I don't really have anything else, unless something else comes up.
Yeah.
So I think he would just kind of like hang out and talk, and then whenever Rhiannon's like ready to head back home, he would then just escort her back to wherever she needs to be in the complex to sneak her way in.
Yeah. She'll happily take that offer, and she's like, it never hurts to have extra muscle around, so yes, love to have a walk back.
Okay.
Nora is gonna turn to Mama and Papa and just ask, when were you guys planning on potentially leaving to go back home? We want to make sure that we, you know, account for everything, whatever your plans are.
Probably tomorrow afternoon. Your father and I wanted to do a little bit more shopping, collecting stuff for home, and then we were probably going to leave in the afternoon, be home in time for dinner. So if that's all right, unless you want us to stay longer.
Okay, especially now that we'll be able to have that tree, so that you can come visit more often. But just make sure not to go until I get back from tea.
I won't. Don't worry. We won't leave without saying goodbye to you. And
You know, we don't have an IKEA back home, so we really want to get some Fjorgelborgs and some
we need to,
Harnelbards.
Yeah, and you guys, I guess, is anyone else walking Hans and Franz back with Rhiannon, or no? Nope, all are leaving?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm still in the bathroom.
For like 45 minutes.
I would have went in and been like, brother, we're leaving.
Are you good?
Stop staying in here, you're fine.
Okay.
Nara wasn't mad at you, she was giving you a hard time.
Yeah, I know.
I love you, brother.
Yeah, I know. I love you too.
And I think Nara likes you. Just, if she says something like that again, take it and say, okay, and if you are sorry, apologize. And then move on. If she didn't seem angry, just take it and just move on. And especially if you are sorry and you apologize and she accepts it, doesn't mean it's not going to happen again. Everybody's, not everybody's human, but everybody makes mistakes. And, it's trying not to do that in the future is the big key. You can't promise, I'll never say something I shouldn't again. That's
I just won't, bring up the secrets, I guess.
Well, it's not even that. You can't say, I promise I won't ever do this. But just say, I promise to try not to do that in the future.
I won't make the same mistake twice. At least I hope not.
Yeah, say, I'll try not to make the same mistake twice. Because if you say, I'm not going to make that same mistake again, and you do, well, then you've been a liar. And that looks bad mistake.
No, I wasn't lying. I was just wrong.
But if you say, I promise to try not to do this again, and then if you don't ever do it again, then you've made progress,
Yeah, okay.
But chin up, brother. You got to walk home with Nara and Rowan.
Okay.
All right. I like hold my hand out to you, like, do you want me to?
Well, he like pats his cheeks a couple of times, puts his chin up.
Okay, I'm ready.
Ready for this?
Yeah, okay.
And I'll drop 5 points and.
Oh, I thought you were gonna slap me.
I went like this.
Yeah,
it would have been something that you would have known. Like,
oh, okay.
Are you ready for me to, or do you need me
up?
to sober you up?
He wasn't like getting hammered or anything. He was just But he's
okay.
Die.
Ow.
Black.
I was going to say you should only give your brother lay on hands with a slap.
In the face, my friend.
Counterproductive lay on hands.
Like cross chop.
Baby powder. No, you gotta put the baby powder on the hand like Steve always wants.
I just like go like this and like a gnome appears out of nowhere, just like floating and like dumps some baby powder in my hand.
Thank you, Vince.
As you guys are sitting and stuff, and Rhiannon's kind of waiting for Hans and Franz to come out of the bathroom with his brother, Felix, you get a note in your head that says, "It was nice seeing it." Like you get it, you know it because Rhiannon's had the message spell for a while. She says, "It was good seeing you. Please take care."
I will.
It's kind of crappy of her to expect him to send letters, and she doesn't even use the sending spell.
She doesn't have it. It's the message spell.
Oh.
Yeah, that's pretty short range.
What'd you say, Lauren? I'm sorry.
I will. Same to you. And if that rice keeps bothering you, Castrate him.
Yeah, that's right.
I think that's a good end for the episode.
And cut.
I'm just hearing ding, 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 ding. Straight him.
I mean, that is a pretty good ending.
Her body language goes like completely rigid, and then like you hear her message, and what do you know about that? How do you know about that?
Putting 2 and 2 together. These guys mentioned that you were getting bugged by him. They didn't know I'd know it was you. Yeah.
Is that really the only way you heard?
I've been watching you.
Was it? I honestly can't remember.
No. Because I don't think they've ever really mentioned it in front. I actually don't think the parties mentioned it until tonight in front of her. Felix heard it because when he was at the fighting patch, he was lip reading the nobles, and Rice was talking in the booth and kind of saying like slight things about her because they were making fun of him for acting like an idiot fool, and he needs to just get over, like, stop pursuing her. She's clearly not interested in you. That's where Felix kind of.
Oh, I had that mixed up. Can we switch that?
No, so he answers he heard people whispering about it.
Well.
Or I don't know.
Sorry. I know some of the other nobles have noted his behavior and told him to stop bothering you. And I know my cousin didn't like him either.
You can tell she's like uncomfortable with the thought of people talking about it. And you guys come out of like the bathroom now. Hans and Franz, you can see like Rhiannon looks a little bit more like sad and like frustrated a little bit. But she kind of like perks up and is like, well, are you ready to go? Are you feeling all right, Hans and Franz?
Yes, all cleared up now.
Yeah, it turns out that shellfish probably wasn't. It was cheap for a reason.
Luckily, my brother has healing magic, so, you know, poor food doesn't really affect me for very long.
That is very fortunate. It was nice hanging out with you tonight. By the way, I should have your bag done tomorrow, so I'll give it to Nora and Una when they come visit for tea.
Excellent. Have you decided what you would like in exchange?
I'm a little indecisive. I think I want something for...
I can make you a crown, maybe a little piece of armor.
What do I need a crown for?
I don't know, so you can take it off and throw it at people.
Like a weapon?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, there was this guy in our village. He was really short, and we called him Odd Job because he always picked up like odd jobs around the village. And he had this crown kind of hat thing, and he would throw it, and he was terrible to fight.
You know, I could maybe make it more like a...
Yeah, he's
well, kind of like this, and he takes out the disc of the Bandia. He's like, you know, I can make it kind of like this, but maybe a little thinner on the edges, sharpen it up a bit.
Put the top on it a bit.
Yeah.
The hat.
I don't think I have the upper body strength for it. She kind of like pokes her arm and stuff.
Oh no,
like,
you wouldn't need that. If you just kind of, you know, throw it.
It's all in the wrist.
Yeah, it's all in the wrist. You know, you don't need a whole lot of strength.
But I have strong fingers, not strong wrists.
Well, maybe then how about some armor? Or, you know, get you some armbands that'll, you know, maybe make you a little stronger. Yeah.
I have a couple ideas. I'll think about it a little bit more and sleep on it.
I get some nice gloves that would, you know, look like they're just kind of little dainty things, but actually they give you like the strength of a giant.
I feel like you keep trying to turn. You have some image of me that I don't quite live up to.
Just, you know, anyone gives you trouble, you're like, let me just put on my gloves. Bang!
God, that would be pretty cool, actually. Can you make me some, brother?
I mean, probably, but you're already pretty strong.
That's very true. Thank you, brother.
I'll think about it and I'll let you know, but I will give your bag to you tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you.
Do some finishing touches in the morning. Yeah, and she'll say goodnight again to everyone at the table. Say, nice meeting you, Callum and Lyra. Hope to see you again. Those two leave. Y'all can head back to the Merchants Guild. It's been a fun time. You drop the parents off at the hotel, and Hans and Franz.
And then it's time for the after party.
Is that where you
Let's
put Rhiannon?
stove it up. Let's get wasted again.
So, you are a gentleman and walk Rhiannon back to the school. It's probably like a 20-minute walk from outside the Fey district into the academy, which is more in the central part of the city. Do you make small talk? What do you ask her about?
I guess he would, saw during the play there was the gal from, I can't remember what the fuck her name was. Was that Brianna? Whatever the fuck?
The queen was Brianna. The daughter's name was
Rhianna?
Rhianna, yeah.
Something like that, whatever.
Yeah. Because I was like, shit, I have too many R names.
Yeah. Well, it was like, because then you got her being
Rena,
whatever it was.
Yeah, so I was like, shit, I should have thought about this in more depth before I picked all these names.
Yeah. But no, he'll, and I remember my brother and I came across an old castle that was from the tribe. For fresh memory, there was some.
Mm-hmm.
Well, was it just in the play that we found ties to the Bandia, or was there anything in that town?
No, the history check that you made, I think I said that you had run across in some of your travels across the Iron Valley places where they had like slightly variant worships of like, the different totems, or like there would be like an old clan that was like had a bear as their symbol, or like a serpent or whatever. In the one area that you found kind of like ruin, like it looked like it was burned in charred stone, you found out that it used to be like kind of more of a busy place, like there was like a bigger clan there, but it's kind of been like abandoned now and stuff, and you couldn't really find any symbology stuff, but you knew it was near like the Mare River, so like that's kind of where you were like, oh, maybe this is tied to the horse, and it wasn't that far from where you met the horse. Like it was around like in that plains areas where you ran into the horse.
Okay. So my brother and I came across this place, and just from some of the other places we had come across, it seemed like there may be a tie to the Bandia. And you said that your mother's family was related to that tribe. Does that mean that your mother's family is descended from the Bandia? Some sort of tribe from the Bandia?
I've puzzled that out myself, she says. And she is, walking alongside you and kind of, she's not fidgeting with anything yet, but she's trying to think of how to explain it. It's hard to say, because all the people in the Iron Valley have mixed worship practices since the, when you say descended from the Bandia, I know you use the term the Bandia to mean your goddesses specifically, but then you also have the independent tribes in the mountain ranges, which is also called the Bandia, which from my understanding from you and also what histories I know on it, they're more of a recent what's the word I'm looking for?
No, I understand.
Amalgamation.
Yeah. But, we came from a host of ununified tribes, of individual tribes that followed the Bandia, and we came together to be the Bandia, the people of the Bandia.
Yeah, that's right.
So I guess when I say, if your mother's family is descended from the Bandia, I mean more from the tribes that have either died out or were brought together to form what we are today?
I don't know if I would say it's exactly the same. The play itself records the history of the Iron Valley, and there was more of settled clans and regions that had more of a leader-based system where they would appoint leaders of family members, and things could be inherited that way, but there was some sort of chance of getting displaced if you weren't doing a good job ruling. So it's not exactly the same hierarchy as the Maya Empire, which is purely feudalistic. But
Would she call it feudalistic?
I don't know. Like by bloodlines, by noble bloodlines, we'll say.
Yeah.
And many of the tribes, some of the tribes ended up becoming more incorporated into the new system of government, while others maintained more of their independence. And my mother's clan was specifically descended from Brianna and her daughter, who married Garen Belmont. So that's what I meant by it's like having your grandparents, watching your grandparents flirt of sorts, or great-great-grandparents.
Oh, okay. I guess I'm really confused. So,
Okay.
What about her mom then?
My mother's family did worship, as you call it, the horse, in a fashion. I wasn't exactly sure if it was the same thing. They were very obsessed with fate and reading the signs, and there were certain rituals and religious practices that had to do with representing the horse. So I guess you could say there's a tie there.
So, where was your mother from?
She was from... you can see her, like, actually start fiddling with her necklace now a little bit, like, you know, like, because she doesn't have her hair down.
Yeah.
She was from the stone ruins you walked by in Regan.
Which is what you had told me before.
Yes. I don't suppose you remember in your
This is just Andrew talking.
Yeah.
I'm not talking to her.
Yeah,
Because you said that last time, but now I'm really confused. Because that castle had to do with the play, which was her grandparents?
No, the castle didn't have to do with the play. It was her family name was associated with the area. The Source clan.
Okay.
That's what it was. It wasn't the castle.
Because I feel like when I was asking you about something during session...
It was the name where you knew from Hans and Franz traveling in that area, going by those ruins in the area known as Regan. It's like, what's up with that castle? And it's like, oh, that used to be the Source family land or whatever.
Yeah. Okay,
so,
okay. Yeah, and that's what I remember you saying, but then for some reason I got wrapped up in her grandparents having something to do with that. Like the play had something to do with that.
Yes, sort of. They're not a direct comparison. Brianna was Queen Brianna was appointed, but she was originally from the Source tribe, and it was appointed as. Remember, I said there was like a temporary leadership thing before.
Yeah.
This is me talking to you. Okay, so Rhiannon says, I don't really think Brianna was truly a queen. I think that she led a opposing force against the Belmonts trying to conquer. And one of the clans from the mountain area of High Tower ended up betraying her, and when her daughter was taken hostage, the Belmonts married her in to retain some sort of legitimacy and keep the other tribes in line. Some of them went along with it and did their best to assimilate while keeping some religious practices from the old ways, while others, like I would say, probably closer to what you claim descendants from, decided not to go quietly into the night, and just because one person had a hostage holding of the previous leader, that they were not going to let that be the end of it, and retreated more into the mountains, lands, and did the slow fight inward. Actually,
truly was going on there. She might have already been on the outs with the rest of the Bandia, with the rest of the tribes, I should say, because we weren't really the Bandia yet, but...
Mm-hmm. So, are you asking if we're related, or are you asking if... What are you asking exactly? She kind of looks at you.
I was just curious to know more about your family. It seemed like there might be not necessarily like a blood relation between us, because the different tribes, that's that would be, you know, I mean, we're all human, so we're all technically
Right.
related some way, I suppose. But more like if there was a shared history with your mother's family and my family.
It's hard to say. I hate to say this as it seems like I know so many stories, but I wasn't actually the most attentive student at paying attention to stories like that in family history when I was younger. So I know that my mother's family didn't necessarily have hostilities towards you, but I think they thought my mother marrying my father would sort of help solidify a peace agreement, and maybe if they could get more members of that clan into positions of leadership, maybe they could stop having so many fights and their religious practices restricted. But it didn't go well.
I mean, we don't really fight with anybody unless they try to come in and take our stuff these days.
That's a good reason to fight somebody.
I mean, yeah, for sure. But so then I don't know if it's too much to talk about. If your mother came from where that castle was, I mean, what happened in the 20-something years since she came to be with your father?
She takes a big sigh, and she kind of like holds on to the charm more so than like the actual like sending stone that you guys gave her on the necklace. And she's like, I don't suppose you heard tales of rebellion when you were traveling around the Iron Valley in your adventures.
If it was pretty recent, I'm assuming we would have.
It would have been like 7 years ago.
Oh God, well yeah, we were definitely out on out there then.
Yeah. I actually, so this is funny. When I remember when I was trying to ask you guys map, I'm like, where did you go and how long did you stay there? I was trying to figure out if you were in the area when this all happened, and you skirted around all of it, and I was like, well, they probably would have heard of it. So it's like, yeah, there was I mentioned like there was like a rebellion of like a clan that kind of had to get put down. So she's like, so I thought this was funny because I was remember.
So if I would have known that,
you did. I don't know if Hans and Franz would have made the connection, but because I remember telling you and Josh a little bit that there was like rebellion stuff, and you're like, okay.
Yeah, that was a long time ago you told us that.
I know. I don't know if Hans and Franz would have really. I don't know.
As a man who wants to lead his people, I think rebellion and burning down a castle, probably wiping out most of the people would be a little important to him.
Yeah, then he probably would know. Then if you think Hans and Franz would have paid attention to it, then yeah. Okay. He would have probably heard about something like that happening. He might not have realized until this moment that it was her mother's family.
Going back to kind of retcon that, he'll be like, oh, so then the castle was burned down because of the I'm really sorry. I don't know if you had family still there or not.
Well, it was probably the majority of my family, except for my mother and uncle. They were executed in the square. And you can see like her go completely like...
Her mother and her uncle?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I'm so sorry. I did not know.
It's alright. I don't really like... It's not something I really like talking about, but it's kind of one of those things I just assume everyone knows.
I mean, my brother and I were kind of in the area at the time, but we were meeting totem spirits at the time and kind of busy with our own thing. And I do remember hearing about it, but I guess I never really, put the... Oh, fuck, I'm trying to think of like a Bandia way to say it. He'd just be like, I was like, I never put the hare, the snake, and the what's the bird? God damn it, the nightingale together to make a totem or something. You know what I mean? Like, but no,
yeah.
He'd be like, I guess I never really put those pieces together. I'm really sorry we don't have to talk about this. I understand.
I can understand the questions, and I appreciate you giving me privacy. It's weird. It happened so many years ago, and I don't really remember. I don't know if I should say that. I remember a lot of earlier memories. Everything around that time period is just like a wall of darkness. It's almost how you described when you had your incident with the elk. She's trying to think of like a tasteful way to say that.
Yeah. Do you know, it's... I've never told my brother this. Because I'm afraid he's going to take it the wrong way. But I don't really remember what my mother looked like. But I can remember her. And I can remember the things she's told me. And I remember the times sitting together, and there'll be times where I'm out in the woods and I'll catch a whiff of a flower that, you know, she used to wear in her hair, and it reminds me of her. But I don't really remember her face. Which is weird, because I spent a fair bit of time with her.
The mind's sort of a funny thing. I remember a lot of the same things with my mom. The voice sometimes, the scent, the certain way that they would look, like an expression. And it's a little different for me, though. I've been told by many people I look similar to my mother, including my father, which is not comforting.
Hans and Franz kind of like shivers a bit, like, ooh.
Not in that way, but...
No, like he...
Yeah, like...
He doesn't take it in that way, but he obviously, to an extent, he does not like her father.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, it's... I mean, I know it can't be the same, because as far as I know, my mother's still alive, so I may get to see her again, but for now, I definitely understand what you mean.
Yeah, I'd risk a lot of things to be able to see her again, but... And she kind of like laughs. She's like, do you remember the night that we met?
Yeah. I thought you were going to fall from that horse and die.
No, I've been thrown off quite a few horses and know how to land. I was more worried about the What?
No, nothing. Nothing.
What, was that an Andrew laugh?
That was an Andrew laugh.
What were you laughing at?
Just, I've been thrown from a bunch of horses.
No,
I know how to get back up.
Oh God. She says, I didn't tell you guys this, but I remember I said I was looking for legends. I know my family probably worshipped the horse differently than your family did. And I think that's why I've been a little resistant to acknowledge maybe some of the claims you've made about them, just because it didn't fit my own memory. But not long after my mother died, I remember seeing a white horse from, like, my tower, and I remember her telling me stories about it, so I kept trying to go out and ride and find it, and then I never really could. But I always thought that was maybe my mother's spirit trying to talk to me, and I never really was able to find it, and years went by and no sign of it. So when I heard there was stories of a ghost horse out in Fehal, even though it was a different part of the world, I thought maybe it was her.
No, you were definitely in the right area the first time.
I wonder why she didn't come visit me.
Well, the horse doesn't really do house calls. And it took a lot of convincing on my part to get, because the horse is a female, right?
Yeah.
It took a long time to get the horse for her to even acknowledge that I was there. But, I mean, granted, I also killed one of her siblings or something.
Maybe she doesn't want to see me.
I don't know about that. I think she would be open to it. I think it would be, I mean, you have to try pretty hard. You know, she is a horse, so sugar cubes and carrots and apples go quite the distance. And like he like smirks at it, but he's like also like, I know I'm fucking serious.
I know. I bribed this bitch to come talk to me, and she still kicked me in the head.
Yep.
She
yeah,
says,
in fact, he kind of like rubs his forehead where he was kicked, like
subconsciously. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that still hurts.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, I don't really know if I do want to talk to her now that I thought it was maybe my mother's spirit, and that's mainly why I wanted to see it and talk to them. But if it's just a celestial horse, I don't really know if that would be what I'm looking for.
Yeah, probably not, but you know, the Bandia, we don't do a lot of real ancestor worship, but we do believe in our ancestors and try to emulate the heroes of the past. And you know, if somebody in the family was a real go-getter, real kind person, you know, we in our individual family units, you know, we may use them as an example for the younger generations. And one thing that we were always kind of taught is that those you loved and are no longer here will always be up here. And he like taps her forehead. Because
sorry, it's like funny and cute at the same time. Like, dude, it's in your head.
You know, I know that most people like to carry their loved ones in their heart, which is, you know, that's how it's thought of, but it's the memories of the people that stays with you. And because you have strong memories of that person, your heart remains strong with them. So they live up here, but you feel them here. And then he taps his own chest above his heart.
She smiles and nods and is like, I suppose that's all like life can really be at times, is memories. And looking forward to the future.
Yeah, you know, and I feel like this is something you would know better than anybody. You know, looking towards the past can be very fruitful. You know, you can learn a lot from the past, not just, you know, from our past, but from, you know, past generations, mistakes they've made, things that they've done that were good. You know, building the aqueducts here in Fehal, you know, that's something that people will probably look to for generations, try to emulate. But if you spend too much time living in the past, you know, you never really move forward. So it's kind of a, you know, like a double-edged axe. You always want your heavy blade swinging forward. You know, you want that momentum going ahead, but you want something in the back just to make sure that something doesn't come up from behind and get you.
It's such a warrior's way of looking at things, but the metaphor is taken.
Yeah, that one probably could use some work. Yeah, that was fucking terrible.
I thought it was a very Hans and Franz thing to say. It's just funny. I'm like, this is so you want to carry a big ass.
Well, you know, life needs things to live.
She smiles and says, so with you learning from your mistakes as you're advising me to, what are you looking forward to with the future?
That's a very different answer than I would have had even 5 years ago. But as much as I would love to be the leader of my people and go back and see my old friends and my family for sure, I really just want to do right by those around me and to do right by the totems. I really messed that up pretty bad, and that's bad for the Bandia, the people, and for our goddesses. So I think if I stay the course that I'm on and help out the totem spirits, as long as I can stay true to my friends and stay good to them, I mean, that'll be... I won't be able to do this on my own, I don't think. As much as my brother and I thought we could when we first set out on this journey, you know, it's really come to light how much relying on people like Nora and Rowan and Una, you know, and to a pretty great extent as well, you has been for us, you know. We never would have gotten to see Lady Elaine, you know. I wouldn't be having a wonderful evening with people I care about, you know, if we weren't friends. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for. How about you?
You know, I don't really know what I wanted before when I was younger. I remember spending time around my family. You'll probably think me shallow, but when I was before my family died, I just mostly remember wanting to spend time riding horses, playing instruments, being around my cousins I was friends with, and she kind of gets like a little bit embarrassed, and just, you know, the things young girls think about and dream about. But when I got old,
sounds about right. I mean, that's probably most everything except for what young girls think about. Sounds pretty similar.
You know, I never really had the expectations that my brother did, which was sort of a blessing, but also a curse. And it just seems like most of my life has been set up for false starts of the future. You know, I thought I would have a reasonable life, and then a significant chunk of my family was executed for treason. And it was just me and Garen who survived.
Garen was
her brother.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. Which, yeah, it's also her dad clearly named him after the founder of the house. Like, so. She's like, I thought I was gonna be married to one person, and then they died in the Pirate King's War. And then I thought I was gonna be married to another person, and then they ended up dying in the invasion from the Iron Valley into the Wind Plains. And then I had a chance to come here, and I don't even know if I really knew what I was doing. I just didn't want my life to be like that, so I ended up here. And now I thought I could learn stuff or do more things and have some agency and freedom of my own life, and now I'm going back to responsibility, and I want to be a good leader, but I feel so unprepared for it. And it's almost like I'm waiting for another disaster to happen.
While she was kind of like relating that, he'll like reach out and just kind of squeeze her shoulder as we're like walking side by side.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that, well, first off, holy shit, that's a lot of stuff that happened to you, and I'm terribly sorry for that. Second, you know, maybe, I don't know how you feel about it, but I feel like you handled yourself pretty well, even with these circumstances. So, I think even if there is another disaster, you've got enough preparedness to handle it if needs be. I mean, I hope there isn't. I hope it's sunshine and rainbows from here on out. But
is that a Bandia saying?
No, we heard it in one of the cities along the coast. They get a lot of rain there, I think. Or maybe they don't get a lot of rain, so when they do get rain, it's good. They like the rainbows. But then, I don't know, rainbows and sunshine, that doesn't seem quite right. Our saying would be, you know, not everything is rabbit stew. I got nothing. Not everything is... Because, yeah, not everything is rabbit stew. Which, when I was a kid, I thought that meant something else. You know, delicious rabbit stew. But then I put the pieces together and realized that the hair... It's not always easy relationships. And he's kind of like turns red, like realizing that it's a dirty saying from his people. And who he's telling it to.
Remind me what the hair represents again?
Oh.
Actually. Oh yeah. She would ask that.
You know, it's you know, like, friendships. And
she's kind of like leaning in. Are you okay? You look a little unsettled.
I mean, so the hair has to do with, like, you know, like fertility, and, you know, so somebody's like, oh, they've got hair on the brain. It's usually like they're looking to have a partner, usually for the night, you know, stuff like that. And he's like, he kind of like pauses and gets like introspective of like why is he embarrassed by this? This isn't something he should be embarrassed by.
That's why she's kind of like laughing a little bit, and she's like, if you're worried about staining my virtue by talking about this, don't worry. It's fine.
It's, oh God, I'm not worried about staining or anything. What? No, what? No. Yeah, don't. Sorry for that. It's just, I understand that it's less common for people of Fehal and from the coastal cities talk as openly about, matters relating to the hair.
The birds and bees, I believe, is the colloquial expression here.
Yeah, my brother and I tried to have a conversation, but I mean, that would be like, we're trying to teach somebody about the forge. That makes a lot more sense why we got yelled at for trying to have that conversation with people.
She just is like doubling over laughing. Like
oh man, my brother's gonna get a kick out of that.
Did nobody tell you that's what it meant?
I mean, looking back on it now, I think I get it. But like I said, your people don't really like to talk about it. So it was all kind of, glances and nudges like, hey, it's not to talk about here. And we were like, oh, is there a guild that has a monopoly on blacksmithing or something? And they were like, well, and it was just a lot of confusion. And now it all makes sense.
Oh my goodness. She's just laughing so bad at it. Like, they're wiping away.
I'm so glad you said that. Because I can't wait to have this conversation. No. The birds and bees comments. I cannot wait to have that conversation with Josh now. To be like, oh my God, brother, you'll never guess what I found out.
So in the Bandia, I suppose it's probably been confusing since a lot of things are masked in euphemism and such like that. But in the Bandia, is it just you go up to somebody and she kind of like, hey, do you want to worship the hair with me? Like, she tries to do a really bad accent, and then she's just like, oh, that was terrible. I'm not good at accents. Yeah,
usually when, for females looking for companionship, she doesn't do that with her voice.
Do what with her voice?
Go really deep like that. Do people in your culture find that attractive?
I don't know. There's a lot of different tastes. Some people like low voices. Some people like high voices. I personally don't mind a low voice, but
I mean, like,
a high voice.
If you were going to approach a guy in the bar, would you go up to him and be like, hi? And then like, I can't fucking do it any differently than I'm doing right now. So we'll just pretend like Hans and Franz lowers his voice a little more and like, hi. Oh God, what was that? Hi. Do you want to get a drink? Oh, that was terrible. That was garbage. Whew.
Oh my God.
So anyway, so yes, he says that to her.
In a low voice, hey, would you like to get a drink? Is that what you said?
Yep.
Okay. So if a guy approached me in a bar and did that, I think it would depend.
But I mean, that's not something you would go up to a guy and make your voice deeper like that and try and talk to him, would you?
I would probably do, like, hang on a minute. Let me see, would she do this? Oh, okay, yeah. I was like, would she do it? I think she would actually, like, stop you a bit, and I think she would kind of, like, lean in, like, not actually, like, touching Hans and Franz, but, like, close.
Mm-hmm.
And then she'd say, I would go up to him and say, hey, you're pretty cute. Would you like to have a drink with me? And, like, she maintains eye contact, and then she kind of, like, pulls back and is like, that's probably what I would do.
Hans and Franz is just, like dead in his tracks until she's like, that's what I would do. And he's like, yeah, I think that would work. But yeah, I've never seen the girl go up to a guy and get that deep voice like you just did to try and get his attention. Or were you trying to imitate the guy? Is that what you were doing?
I was trying to imitate you, but I did a very bad job of it.
I mean, I got the Bandia, and he kind of like, accent, but I mean, no, it's perfectly okay for a male or a female to approach. And usually it's not like, hey, let's go, back in the trees here. I mean, I'm not saying that doesn't happen, because it does, but it's no different than anywhere else, I think. were just a little more open with it and less judgmental of it. But if you're looking for more of a relationship with somebody, you know, then it would be talking, spending time together, you know, maybe food, drinks, you know. So we had people in our village that they had been together for years and never actually got joined. And then we had people who, after a month, were joined. And sometimes those ended pretty quickly after. But that's also okay. You know, being joined is, as long as we're on the same page and willing to work this through, you know, we're joined. But if it's decided by one party or the other that this is no longer working, then they end it. It's not always the most amicable situation. Most of the time it is, you know, based on run-ins we've had with people in some of the villages outside the Bandia. It doesn't always seem that way amongst the people of the coast. You know, people will just argue and throw things at each other and then stay together. It just doesn't make any sense.
So it seems like a universal truth is relationships are complicated.
Yes.
And you're not always sure when you're walking towards one or not.
Hans and Franz kind of like looks. Have we started walking again?
I think you guys probably would have been a bit distracted by that, or maybe not.
Yeah, I mean, Hans and Franz was. So if
yeah.
Rhiannon would have started walking again, he would have. But
no, she's just.
So when she says like walking towards something, whatever, like he kind of like looks down the road and then like looks back, like, oh, never mind. Yeah, things usually are pretty straightforward with the Bandia, but that's not always the case. I mean, you look at my brother,
him and Nora?
Yeah, he turns into kind of a bit of a mess around her. He got really jealous one time. It was really weird, I mean, the Bandia aren't known for the jealousy. I mean, it happens, but I immediately took him and if he keeps it up, I'll actually slap him, but in the instant, I kind of gave him a nudge and was like, they're not cool, brother.
I mean, at least as problematic as jealousy can be, you know, at least it's a clear indication that there's something. That's
very true. I guess I never really thought about it like that. See, for me, if I think there might be a chance, I usually just say something. You know, like, I really do enjoy spending a lot of time with you, Rhiannon. And I think if we were in different situations, I would pursue it more. But I know that you're in a situation where you know, you're not really sure what the future holds for you. So I don't say anything, but I do really enjoy spending time with you, and I really enjoy being your friend, but I don't say anything because I would rather just be your friend than, you know, have you get upset for me trying something that wasn't, you know, the different cultures can make it a little more difficult in your unique situation. But we also haven't known each other for that long yet. We've spent some very good time together, but...
That's something you would say? She's like a little confused by all of that, like I'm trying to process that too. Like, it's okay, as the DM, I should have a roll an insight check. Are you trying to playfully insinuate I maybe like you a little bit, but our lives are so fucking complicated that I don't want to pursue anything? Or
no, he's saying that because she made some comment when we were talking about Lord Eris and just like other things about like she has no idea what her future holds, and so she has to kind of like play it loosey-goosey, however you want to put it. And so Hans and Franz was literally just saying that he really enjoys spending time with her, but he won't pursue anything more because he knows the situation she's in. Because to him telling her that he likes her doesn't it's not super awkward and uncomfortable. He's just like, no, I really like you and I really like spending time with you.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you and so he'll getting back into character, you know, I feel like if you and I were in different roles on the different stages in our life, I would very much pursue you if you were amicable to it. But, you know, I understand that I have to come and go and that you've got your responsibilities. So if you're okay with being friends, you know, I'd like to be your friend. I think we kind of already are there. And he kind of like motions at the necklace of like, I think we're friends already. But
yeah, she kind of is like processing everything you said. She's like, that's what you would say. And yes, we are friends. I think if you had said that, I would say that you're right. And it's very logical and a truthful answer, and I agree with everything you said. I would say that I'm not really good at letting people in and having friendships and relying on people. And usually I look for the worst in them, and it's very hard to do that with you. Sometimes I'm not really sure that you are even real compared to just so much of what I've dealt with. You're too kind, you're too nice, you treat everyone so well. And I wonder if you're just that nice, or if maybe there's something there that is more.
He kind of like looks around conspiratorially.
Yeah. And she's actually starting to fidget with the necklace too again. Yeah. She's kind of like not really saying this face to face with him.
And I'll like keep my distance, which is kind of like lean a little bit and like put my hand up to his mouth and be like, wow, sometimes when I eat my brother's rabbit stew, I get really gassy. Trying to like break the tension, like, hey, I'm people too. But then he'll be like, but...
That's a weird metaphor.
But, you know, I think my parents did a pretty good job of raising my brother and I. It can be really tough sometimes though, because we do feel the need to help anybody we come across. But I like to give people the benefit of the doubt until I can form my own opinion of them. I mean, there are some people... Eris! He kind of says under his breath, that when somebody I trust gives their opinion of them, I trust it. Plus, I had some of my own opinions already. But I understand, you know, it's a difficult place to be in, where in that political circle of not being able to trust everybody. You know, my people do politics to an extent, but for the most part we say what we mean, and we do what we say we're going to do. But I know living amongst people not of our tribe, but that's not always the case. And that's just people we've met on the road or in villages. Just on what I know from some of the nobility, I get it.
Maybe that's one of the reasons you're so easy to be around, is because you'll always be, well, I wouldn't say always be straightforward. Some of the answers you gave within the last 10 minutes were slightly confusing, but I think I know what you're saying. But you're very straightforward and honest.
I'm really confused now. I don't get what she's like, do I get what she's talking about? Have I been really evasive?
I don't know. Make an insight check.
Holy fuck. Oh, that's a 10.
You're not really sure what she means by that.
Yeah, he full
you get
on,
the sense of there's confusion, but like, what are you
full on cocks his head to the side like a puppy and is like squinting and like looking up, like trying to think, but he's like, okay, like he just like, okay, I guess. I mean, yeah, I always, if somebody tells me not to say something and then somebody asks a direct question about that, I will try my best to keep that to myself. And usually I'm pretty good about it.
Yeah, I would say out of everyone, you've definitely been better at keeping your mouth shut about certain things. And she kind of is like smiling,
yeah,
like thinking about specifically Una and Josh's Hans and Franz.
Yeah, Hans and Franz is like, yeah, it's one thing when somebody directly questions you about something, but to just blurt things out in front of everybody else. Those two are idiots. And I'm so glad that my brother is in love with Nora, not Una, because that would be a disaster. Oh, I can't even. And he like full body shivers, like, oh god. Oh
no, that'd be so bad. If you answer things fully and honestly, if I asked you, what if situations were different? And we were just two people that enjoyed spending time together and have had a friendship, and you were walking me home like this, would your answer still be the same as it was earlier? Or would it be different?
Oh, absolutely not. No, it's...
What would it be instead?
Well, I would see if you wanted to spend more time together on like an individual basis. You know, try and cultivate a relationship. You know, you're very interesting, you're very intelligent, and you're very beautiful. But, you know, I understand, and, you know, I hope this doesn't ruin your opinion of me, that, you know, I feel this way about you, but I understand that, you know, you've got your thing that you have to do.
Everything you said is very appealing, and, you know, I've kind of lived so much of my life trying to remember all of those complicated things that I have to worry about, and it gets pretty exhausting. So, if we were just not in that situation, and we were just as we are right now... Oh, I don't know how to say this. How do you say I really like you in the Bandia. Actually, she kind of like stops for a minute and she's like, you know what? There's some other things that cross language barriers. And she kind of reaches up and like kisses your cheek.
Again, he's a bit like frozen for a second. And then you could like his whole body just like, not that he was like tense before or anything, but like now he's like, oh yeah, I'm relaxed now.
He's like, okay, I understand what she's saying now.
He goes, I mean, yeah, that's one way to say it, if that's what you're saying.
She kind of like lingers on her tiptoes to be close to your face without fully pulling back, but giving you space where like if you're not into it, you can kind of like step up, push her shoulders down, like, no girl. No, I know, but she's kind of like still lingering there. She's like,
I think he would have leaned in at this point a bit.
Even with everything else going on and knowing things should be slow and careful, that is what I'm saying.
And he'll lean in and kiss her.
She kisses you back.
All right. All right.
I was wondering, I'm like, are they gonna get together before Nora and Hans and Franz? And I was
yes.
Yeah,
I think the two people who are the most mature in the group, Rhiannon and Hans and Franz Andrew, are definitely going to be able to like come to an understanding of their feelings before them. So
she kissed. You guys kissed for a while, and I guess like you can I don't know, like
finish.
she'll like she'll like finish her walk back to the school.
Yeah. There's probably like a lot more like silence and like sideward glancing as we walk back, and just kind of like content to spend time, you know, just walking.
She'll specifically hold your hand a bit, and she says, I'm not gonna lie, from what you said earlier, I couldn't tell if you were trying to say I'm not really interested in being more because of all the baggage, or just I don't see you that way.
Oh no, I think from that first ride back to the city, you know, some of the things you talked about, and just the more I got to know you, but I meant it as I feel this way, but I know that with the things you have going on in your life, you probably don't want this. So I apologize for the confusion.
No, it's okay. I didn't expect this to happen. This is so strange. It's a moment of beauty in the chaos that has been my life. Hans and Franz, I don't know exactly. I can't say that this is, you know, we're gonna see what happens, and we have to, you know, take things slow, and I'm probably gonna have to be semi-private about this with you. Not that I want to, but...
No,
it's complicated.
Yeah, I gathered that much from... I figured that if I was going to say something to you and make an advance, that if this were to happen, and he kind of like gives like a whoop whoop, that there would be limitations, and I don't want to say, I mean, I guess sneaking around a bit maybe.
Yeah, which I know that you're gonna still have to go travel for months at a time with your mission for the totems, and if I'm gonna be honest, because we can savor that moment for what it was, but I can't promise you that when I go home, I'm not gonna be just married off to somebody else.
I wouldn't. I understand you.
Not that I want that.
Yeah, I understand. I understand how that part of your life will have its own outcome. But, you know, there's a bit of a lifestyle with the Bandia where you just kind of take things day by day, you know, and if I'm gone on the mission for, I mean, hopefully not months at a time, but if I am gone, just know that, you know, I'll keep you here, and he taps his chest, and I'll keep you here, and he taps his head. But, I mean, I really hope it doesn't happen, but if I come back and you're gone, and your dad decided to marry you off, I know it's not, if it's your choice, it's a choice you've made for your people. And I will understand that. I'm
Honestly,
not going to like it, but...
The smarter thing is going to be for me to not get married to anybody back home, but... Or maybe ever. I could be like Elaine.
Right. Her and Lady Seamus aren't together?
Oh, you picked up on that? No, they are, just not... She's not married to another noble who could try to influence.
Can she not get married to Lady Seamus?
I don't think people would like... Oh, none of the nobles would like it. To be honest, I'm pretty sure they are married. At least whatever the elves do for marriage, like how they say their vows. But I don't think that she could do the same sort of Mire Empire ceremony and have it all be, you know, recognized and legitimate, because regardless of like practices, there have been same-sex couples that get married, but a lot of people wouldn't like the fact that she married a fae and not somebody else who could share resources and land. So
Well, this land is hers. Why would she need to share land with somebody else?
well, a lot of times noble nonsense. You marry so you can get money, allies, resources.
The allies, I guess I can understand. I mean, I get it to an extent, but, you know, it's not like my parents who kind of were married because we had two tribes that were going to disappear if they didn't. You know, I don't think fighting's going anywhere anytime soon.
Well, I guess as whatever this is, you at least have Sophia as an ally. Does this mean that I get your allies in a relationship?
Who's Sophia?
Her maid.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, she's like, yeah.
So I thought, Sophia would be an excellent ally. But yes, even before whatever this ends up being, I consider you a friend, which makes you an ally.
Same here. And you know, I don't know if I can do anything to really help with you getting back in with your tribe, but I'll help you on your quests in whatever small ways I can, and when I go home. And who knows, maybe the future will be good. Maybe our people will be at peace and we can just take more things day at a time.
That would be amazing, because, there's some hard feelings with some of my people against your people. But for the most part, we're, live and let live. But I definitely got the sense of some hatred when my brother and I ventured out amongst your people.
Well, I also want to promise you that even if you and I get drunk and yell at each other terribly, and I value your friendship and I won't ever do anything to hurt your people. Even if things with us go south.
He chuckles at that and he says, I can't say what my people will do because I don't have a guaranteed way back to them necessarily. But I will do anything I can if I hear something, or if I am leading, that it definitely won't happen.
Well, if you can't go home as much as I want you to be able to, I could have an opening as a personal bodyguard. She kind of gives you a smile.
Yeah, he smiles. He's like, we could be like Lady Seamist. I could be Lady Seamist. I could be okay with this. Would that mean I get to go fight in tournaments under your banner?
If you want to.
Yeah,
she's laughing.
My brother and I kind of wanted to compete in the last one, but, noble nonsense. We didn't have the prestige to do it.
Well, if you want to be knighted, I could do that at least, but...
No, not right now.
That's a lot for one night.
Yeah, let's stick to this, and you kind of side hug her for now.
We can stick to this. Or this, and she gives you another kiss just cause.
Yeah. I guess if that's what you want to do, that's fine.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, it's fine. I guess I'll take that.
If that's what you're putting down, I'll pick it up, I guess.
Yeah, and you guys kind of continue your walk back to the school. You find her lingering kind of around the bridge area, where she probably's got to go towards one of the walls, and Spider-Man climb up is how Una described it, with her special slippers, but she's kind of delaying because she's having fun talking to you, and just it's like the hey, we like each other. I don't really want to say goodnight, but I probably should.
No, you say goodnight. No, you say goodnight.
No, you say goodnight.
You hang up the phone.
Not that gang.
No, you hang up the phone.
Well, I don't know when I'll see you quite again, but...
Well, you now get a hold of me, and...
I already used the charge for it for today, though.
Well, for today, but... Oh, yeah, that's going to make a conversation pretty difficult.
I know, once a day.
Oof.
I could always send Sophia, or just pawn off some more sending
I'll have to come by to pick up Sophia tomorrow, the next day anyway. Because I want to give Bird a good talking to. Bird?
I would do
Song.
that. Yes,
Jesus.
Song. Jesus, yes.
Give that fucking bird a piece of mind. No.
At least, if you're gonna do that, please figure out what his intentions are before you drag her into it.
Yes.
If he...
No, for sure.
I feel terrible that what's happened has already happened, because it's kind of on us for mentioning it. But it's really on Song, because he's being a dumbass.
Oh, why can't everyone be as smart as you? She kind of like gives you like a look.
Well, it would make things a lot easier. But I also want you to know, I don't always have the greatest of ideas.
I remember the hot pepper eating contest. I'll let you in on a secret. Neither do I.
Al, I didn't see you eat hot peppers that day.
I've done plenty of other dumb decisions in my life. You know, I suppose I did ask you pretty prying information earlier. Is there any final questions you wish to lob at me before we part ways for the night? She's like kind of being like playful.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
But I'm also giving you a chance to think if you want to ask anything else kind of like that was on your bucket list before we got off track.
I don't think he really has anything else from the evening. He would say, what is your favorite fruit?
Fuck, what did I say her? Strawberries. Because I was like, what did I say her favorite tart was? I think I said it was strawberry tart. So, what's your favorite fruit? And that's not a very deep question.
Well, now it sets up future conversations when I bring you strawberries. I really enjoy peaches.
Peaches are good too.
Yeah. I could go for a peach. And so could I. I could go for a peach. That sounds really good.
She's like, well, language lessons are probably going to be a little interesting now.
I think they'll be as interesting as we make them. And he leans in and gives her a kiss on the cheek. And he says, but you've got a morning date with the girls. And as much as I'd love to sit here and talk with you forever, if somebody sees us out here, it's probably not going to be a very good thing for us.
Probably not. I guess I'll see you sometime.
He'll go in for a hug?
She'll hug him back.
And then he'll just kind of like, not drunkenly, but just kind of like saunter away, like looking back every now and again.
And she'll retreat and climb up to like go back into the school. But yeah, then Hans and Franz goes home and God knows what he's thinking about. Bandia no.
Hair knows. I mean, oh gosh, what? No, he's there. It's a mix of things because he doesn't know if he should. He didn't ask her. She said keeping it secret, but he didn't know if he could tell his brother, so he's not going to tell his brother until he asks her about that. But
oh yeah, actually, yeah, she didn't say that, but that's probably that's a good point.
Yeah,
because he can't keep his mouth shut.
Oh God, no. But he would want to tell his brother because it's his brother.
Mm-hmm.
But she said to keep it secret, and he didn't specifically ask because he was too caught up in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I thought about it, but I was like, oh, Hans and Franz wouldn't give a shit at that point. And so he's like, there's some anxiety there about not telling his brother, but then there's also not, because he doesn't really, not that he doesn't care, but he knows that he's not gonna like wake up and be like, oh, Rhiannon, it was such a lovely evening last night. I cannot possibly wait
so
to see
like
you again.
I'm just picturing like this conversation in game where he's like, you're like, it's not hard, brother, just ask her. And he's like, what do you know? You haven't done anything with Rhiannon yet. And you're like, well.
Yeah, I think if that came up, you'd be like, oh yeah, no, nothing's.
Nothing. We totally didn't kiss on the walk back.
No,
it's fine.
No.
Franz, you head back to the Merchants Guild. Your heart's pretty happy, a little probably confused over like, this might be complicated, but I'm not going to worry about it now because we understand each other.
Yeah, there's like, for him, like the big thing is like, no matter what eventually happens, if I sit and worry about that, then I'm going to ruin the time that he does have with her. And so, and like, I mean, that's very much Hans and Franz mentality of like, tomorrow will be tomorrow in this instance. And if she has to leave him and go marry some other guy, I mean, he's not going to be like, oh, okay, well, it was nice knowing you. But he's also going to understand that she has to do what she has to do for her people.
Right.
I mean, would he show up to the wedding drunk and pick a fight? Maybe.
but not with like not with the groom. Maybe with like one of the groom's uncles or something.
Yeah, just somebody else random.
Yeah.
Well, that was romantic. Is this a sign of good things to come? Or merely the calm before the storm? Find out next time on the Guardians of Fehal.